Good afternoon, Susie from Long Beach. Time to get back to the YouTube schedule. And here's the question that I've been hearing quite a bit, and I think about. It's just something that I've been thinking about. I don't have a particular content schedule, rhyme or reason. This is definitely not a sponsored, although I am going to be talking about a certain brand of supplement. And so what I have been hearing about lately is I've heard this on podcasts quite a bit. If you could narrow it down to one supplement, what would it be? And then typically I hear said wellness doctors, nurse practitioners, a lot of great podcasts that I enjoy. They start rattling off 2 or 3 or 4 because one is basically impossible for them. And I've posed this to a few friends as well. For most of my life, I have been a no supplement girl. I had the supplement graveyard, if you know what I mean. So there's a few vitamin C, maybe some calcium, some vitamin D in there that eventually after a year or 3 or 4 get tossed in the trash. So this was my first supplement. It's not my last, but yeah, so I've been diving into a lot more information since then, but I just kind of want to talk about the first one. And I started this almost 2 years ago in the fall. So yeah, not quite yet. Been 2 years. And at that point, why was I thinking about this particular supplement? Because as you may know, I am very interested in exercise, and I've been enjoying weightlifting. I did that early in my life, and I've kind of gotten back to it. It is something that I enjoyed then, and I'm sort of enjoying doing it. It's a little bit more modified this time around than it used to be, but yeah, it's fun. And I don't think I was recovering as fast as I used to. Can anybody relate? I'm not doing that so much anymore, but I did long endurance runs, and yeah, those are kind of a challenge to recover from as well. So I had been hearing these bits about aiding your mitochondria. So some of you know what I'm going to say. A little faster muscle recovery was one of the things. They do quote quite a few studies as well that reports people either maintaining some muscle or gaining some muscle. And so I did start the Urolithin A by Timeline Nutrition. Again, this is not sponsored. I'm just saying what I have been doing. It's just one thing that I have been doing. And so I started it in, but I wanted to have some results. So at the same time, just right before I started it, I went ahead and did some, kind of a battery of blood work with Function Health so that I could have a baseline to say, hey, it's working or not working, or it's adjusting some things or not. And so I did start taking it, and I've barely missed a day since then. So that kind of says something right there. And I'll tell you the biggest reason why I have barely missed a day. We do have lots of airplanes going over here in my part of Long Beach. So the reason that I am still taking it and have barely missed a day is because it's not because I am getting ease in muscle recovery, although I think it has affected that a bit. I have never stopped taking it to really feel the difference. A lot of people do say that they think maybe it's not helping a super lot, and then they stop taking it and they notice that they're not recovering as quickly after a workout, which is, less of a thing if you're not maybe working out pretty actively. But prior to taking this, I'd had a year or two where I had multiple respiratory illnesses that lasted long, like several weeks, and a little bit severe, if I'm honest, where, you know, they really kind of took me out for a couple of weeks. And so that was also part of my workout conundrum, is that I would feel like I did pretty well if I wasn't out of town and if I wasn't not feeling well. But since that time, I don't know, I have been taking these almost every day, and I'm looking into more things. Many of you know that I also work with a functional nurse practitioner, and I also started working with Vanessa too, who is a functional nutritionist, and I'm definitely still learning. And so it's nice to have some guidance for sure along the way, because when I started this 2 years ago, I was just like, well, I think I need to start something, and I started with that. And upon reading a little bit more, so my main reason is immune system. It clearly, in my opinion, like, maybe this is the placebo effect, although this is not what I was expecting, but it helped my immune system so much. In fact, you know, again, I'm almost afraid to say this because I do know that I will get sick sometime again, but I hope I don't. So since I've started taking these, I've had, you know, I haven't been very sick, ever, not once. I had really the closest time was earlier this year, I think, or sometime during January, you know, when everything was going around, and I kind of felt like something was coming on, and it was for several days or maybe even up to a week, and I was like, oh boy, here it comes. And you know, it never really came fully. So that's my story. That is the one supplement that I am enjoying, and yes, this is a little bit longer form. Yeah, again, unpaid. I'd love to know what if you could take only one supplement, what would it be? Would it be vitamin C? Would it be vitamin D? Yeah. All right, cheers.